Welcome to the podcast, guys. How's you guys' weekend so far?
It's pretty exciting for me so far.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
I guess both of us kind of made it public this weekend.
Yeah, the fact that it was both today was pretty awesome.
Yeah, you guys are all being exciting, and I'm just sitting here being old.
Well, we can't hold that against you, Brian. It's okay.
Do you want to tell your news first, Mark?
I got engaged today, so here's that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. How about yourself, Iain? What's going on?
I announced that I'm having my firstborn, also known as my third child. So, yeah,
congrats,
I announced that up yesterday. So it's unlike two out of three of us are having lovely relationships, and Brian Malorian is getting noogied by his family.
And Brian has a lot of Buccaneers.
Well,
Brian has a lot of Buccaneers.
I think we've known that for quite a while, haven't we? There's nothing new. Get it by a bunch of, what are they, Talons?
Yeah, I got to confirm at some point. But yeah, congratulations, fellas.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we're in episode 38 here of Shoulda Boosted. We're going to be jumping into the Ret update here in a second. But one of the new news that we want to start off here is that Iain and I are actually doing a little bit of a campaign to get things going for the Community Killer. Iain, want to talk about that?
Yeah, actually, I just went off on it about a few seconds ago on the actual stream. But right now we have a Kickstarter of sorts where the more subscribers I get, the more punishment I get to lay on to Mr. Malorian. Now, depending on the amount of subscribers that each level, it's every 75 at this point. We're at 229, and the next one at 300, Malorian has to walk barefoot across an open field of Lego.
And can I just pay for this to happen?
It gets worse. I mean, you could pay people to subscribe to me. That'll work.
Could think of the best Kickstarter campaign ever.
Right. Well, I do have a donation section on the podcast, so I guess, or on the stream. So I guess you could be the very first person to donate.
Winning.
With that said, Malorian is gracious enough and has been open to this and is a great community builder to do stuff like this. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on all of this and these ideas?
I'm not too scared of these first ones. Some of the ones we have later on, I'm terrified of. So I'm both hoping you're super successful and also hoping that it does not go that successful.
It's the 751. If I get 750 subscribers, that's the very last one. If I get to 500, I will start inventing more dangerous, not dangerous, but more maniacal.
Right now I want to know what's going on. Like, what's this 750 level?
The 750 is I take his entire Magic collection, I dump it into a box, and shuffle them violently. He literally stopped breathing when he read it, apparently. So,
and I don't have any of the real. There's one thing for they're going to be all shuffled up and mixed up, and I'll have to spend the time to re-put them in order. That's one thing. But I mean, like some of these cards are like $100, and I would like them not to be destroyed. So,
so these have to be like legit subscribers, or can I just like start a bot service?
Yeah.
I didn't make any rules about it. I said that if I get 750 subscribers, this is what happens. And there are people that are like, oh man, I have like 4 or 5 different gaming accounts I can log into and subscribe. Be like, do it. If you want to see pain inflicted onto Malorian, do it. And people have been like, oh yeah, I can't wait to see that noogie. And then there's one that's an atomic wedgie at 600. There's 525. He has to smash his Sturgis. That will be the official Sturgis loss. Sturgis does lose.
It'll be sad days.
375 is a pretty neat one. That's when he has to jump into a snowdrift pile or a pit of snow in shorts and a t-shirt. That'll be a fun one.
I think I'm excited about that one so far the most.
Yeah. So, let's get into the actual chat that we're going to be having today.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't beat on Brian.
We had the Ret update come here, and there's a whole bunch of new rules. And I mean, I'm not much of a Ret player, but I can only guess that probably the Tridents went up a point or 2, right? That's what happened, Iain?
Hopefully 10.
You guys aren't that lucky.
Yeah, no kidding. After those things.
Yeah, so I mean, Ian's going to be our resident expert with Retribution, so we'll kind of go through all the different changes, but it's probably going to be mainly Ian and then Mark for the competitive side as well for what this actually means. So because you'll be doing much of the talking on that side, do you want me just to say what the changes were to the first thing?
Yeah, you give her, buddy.
All right, so the first thing we had changed here is Thyron's Sword of Truth, and what happened is that it lost Cleave and Field Marshal Cleave. It gained Sidestep and Field Marshal Sidestep. It lost Assail and Ground Zero, and then gained Flashing Blade and Fury. And then its feat changed to Thyron and friendly faction models beginning their activations in its control range get an additional die on melee attack rolls. Additionally, while within Thyron's control range, friendly faction non-warcaster warrior models gain Killing Spree, and the Blades of Vengeance last for 1 round, or 1 turn rather. So, Ian, what does this mean?
It means that I have a whole army of blending elves running across the table. It's so good, so good. That feat, we'll just discuss feat at the beginning because everything else is we'll do the exciting stuff first. Killing Spree is already a bonkers ability that can be done on so many different things, but it isn't. Like, we all know Finn Pac-Manning across units and like removing dwarves or removing trolls and by the droves, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, when you have an entire army that has the ability to do that with the ability to sidestep off their initials, that's a lot of extra movement because you can do your initial Killing Spree or sidestep, then Killing Spree, and keep getting further and further and deeper into an army. But the only limitation being the fact that you might have to start moving linearly left and right to stay within the control area of your caster, which is 12.
Mm-hmm.
So super good. His personal output being Flashing Blade went like he didn't have Flashing Blade before. He has Flashing Blade now. That's a really, really powerful spell for somebody that has Storm Ranger, and he's a weapon master.
Yeah, exactly.
He got Fury,
and he got Fury. Yeah, because the elves.
You couldn't have both at the same time though, so it's not a huge deal there.
I mean, you put Storm Ranger on yourself, and then you start throwing out Fury attacks, start throwing out Flashing Blade attacks. That's pretty sick.
Oh yeah, that is. I'm just saying you can't stack Fury and Storm Ranger, so that's not.
I'm more worried about Fury being on a jack, sidestepping its way to my caster or important heavy or something like that.
True.
I mean, let's look at the budget. What's the 20 point warjack that they have? Imperatus. Now let's do the budget one, which is Eterna or the Nene, the Eterna or the Banshee doing it, because they both have
Nene.
The Nene. I love the Nene.
Jesus.
It has 2-inch initials, so it can charge in with Assail, sidestep, Killing Spree, sidestep, Killing Spree, Killing Spree, Killing Spree, Killing Spree, with Fury on top of it. It's going to get deep. It's going to be ridiculous.
I think the one you're overlooking more so that is morose. In all honesty, I think that'd be a lot scarier.
Being able to why exactly that?
You throw Fury on that thing. That thing's already speed 7 as it is. So you're sidestepping. You're getting so far and right into a caster's face, right?
Mm-hmm. And with Paralyze.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I should also mention that there's some dev notes here that say, Brian, screw you and your infantry. So just to bring that in.
You just got to get more non-single wound infantry.
Okay, so just so everybody in radio and YouTube land hears what's going on about this, Brian likes to complain about how his infantry is absolutely defunct now, and how single wound infantry is destroyed, and like there's no reason to play it ever again. But like there is a reason to play it in this particular CID now, because there's a lot of single wound.
Are you saying I should be a ret player?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Thyron before we move on to the next caster?
He got real good. That's will play.
I think it's buffs that he needed to get for sure. I don't know they'll push him over the top of her Falseer, but I think that he's definitely going to see a lot more play because he's going to be a lot more fun.
I don't know. I mean, you basically can just ignore and just delete any infantry you see. So now you just take a bunch of heavies that are going to get fury and smash whatever battle group you're up against. So it seems like a very powerful caster now.
Well, and you get to dig super deep with sidestep as a field marshal.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, every threat just gets increased by 4.
Everything's a Mullicarn now.
Everything's a Mullicarn or Imperatus.
Yeah. All right, so the next one we had here was Gareth, the Blade of Retribution. The changes here is that the rat increased to 7. I didn't realize it was not at least 7 before.
Yeah.
Models gain the following abilities: dual attack, reposition 3, and field marshal reposition 3. And then it loses the spells Heightened Reflexes, Psychic Vampire, and Sentry. And then it's going to gain the spells Crippling Grasp, Gatecrasher, and Perseverance. So what do you think about this one, Iain?
So dual attack is amazing for him specifically because that gives him 4 attacks. Because he has 2 pistols and 2 weapon master blades that are also, all of them also have blessed weapon, so it ignores anything to do with defense or armor with spells. Losing heightened reflexes, psychic vampire, and sentry, whatever. We are now the third caster that has crippling grasp, which is basically -2 to everything. That's bonkers. I can't believe that they gave him that, especially with how easy it is for us to Arcanode stuff. I mean, he's a focus 6, but if you put Silas beside him, he's a Signs Importance focus 6. So he's going to be hitting most of what he needs to. Mm-hmm. For his the Field Marshal Repo 3, super good for Ret Jacks, because almost every single Ret Jack, it's very rare for Ret Jack not to have a gun, to be able to move up, sandpaper a little bit, and then back up. And it's not even sandpapering. Most of our guns are really good.
Yeah, exactly.
The Demon improvement, the Hydra improvement, Harpies being bonkers good. There's no... Repo 3 is an amazing ability for Retribution, and as a Field Marshal, it's just crazy that we would get it. Gatecrasher, I'm going to go with Perseverance first. Perseverance, fine, cool. It's +2 arm.
It's a meh.
It's a meh. It's something that most of the time you're not going to be putting up unless you have a very, very specific build. But I guess I have to talk about Gatecrasher because Mark's waiting for me to
defend that because
Gatecrasher.
I have Perseverance that I cast all the time, and say like my Siphon list. I mean, it's not only nice to have that armor buff on a Jack. I mean, that's nice already. But sometimes the whole can't be knocked down, can't be pushed, that stuff is key. So if worst case scenario, it's the extra armor, and then sometimes those extra defenses is just what you need depending on what you're facing.
True. I think it's more of you're going to send Gareth in there, and if he doesn't murder the world, then okay, something to save his butt a little bit.
So Perseverance, you don't really want to put Perseverance out because you want to keep that focus on Gareth. You want to have Mirage on him for his threat extension because his personal threat is 17.5 inches with a charge, Mirage, and Gatekeeper. Also, I'm sure you guys love me talking about this. That one model that you guys already said that obviously went up 2 points did not go up 2 points. You guys are safe. It increases its threat to 19.5 inches.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? I think you call it Gatekeeper, but Gatecrasher. I mean,
yes.
It was the same idea for Kane back in the day. The Kane 2 could Gatecrasher into your caster, but then by the time you spent all that focus to Gatecrasher, you didn't have enough focus to actually finish the job. So it'd only be killing the weakest of casters. Do you actually think that Gatecrasher thing will be offensive? I see it as defensive at this point. That you go in, kill something, and Gatecrasher away.
It's only a 5-inch move, though.
It's a 5-inch move, but the other thing is that that Gareth can do is that we have a new and improved silencer solo, which gives sprint to our to Mage Hunter casters, or to Mage Hunters in general. So when you destroy something with melee on the charge, which is going to be a 4-dice charge, and then Gatecrasher. Oh, I guess you can't Gatecrasher and then sprint, but you still have that sprint to be able to sandpaper out and then get out of there. So there's still a lot of movement shenanigans. Usually the Gatecrasher is going to be used for that assassination. The assassination. Kane's different because he doesn't have 4 initials.
Well, I guess.
How many initials does Kane have?
He has his 2. He has 2 guns.
He has his 2 guns that are POW 12.
Reinhold gives him another one, but yeah.
Okay, and Reinhold's right beside him to give him that extra attack?
Well, the start before it goes in, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so he gets 3 attacks where I'm going to be getting 3 on the caster because I have to charge, get a successful charge, and then gate crash into the caster. And that leaves me with 5 focus, 3 focus. It's going to leave me with 3 focus for additional buys, which are going to be POW 11. It's typically going to be POW 11 Weapon Master attacks.
Yeah, it just seems like if there's something that's going to be weak enough for you to kill with that, your tridents or whatever will just shoot and kill that type of target anyway. So I think that threat is not like the Striker 2 threat, like, oh boy, you're going down. It's going to be like, you would have to be like a Nemo camping 1 that would die to this.
Or yeah, like it's a sandpaper, like somebody sandpapered out your heavies, or somebody blew their wad and all their heavies are max fury, and they don't have any transfers. Yeah, that would be the ideal targets. But for how easy it is to deliver them, it's perfect for that because you're going to be getting 6 or 7 attacks at Mat 8, Rat 7.
But this is nowhere near as big as the change for Thyron, right?
Well,
no, I think the Thyron change is quite a more substantial, but I think the Gareth one you'll see more play of, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, mainly because Gareth has his own personal threat, and the Thyron doesn't get the benefit of his own feat, where Gareth actually, his feat didn't change at all, but it also... Sorry?
Thyron does benefit from his own feat.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't Pac-Man. He does not benefit from his feat. They did not allow him to Magic 2. Thyron and friendly faction models in his control range gain an additional die on melee attack rolls. Additionally, while within Thyron's control range, friendly faction non-warcaster warrior models gain killing spree.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he doesn't get the killing spree. He gets the additional die to hit, but he does not get the Pac-Man. They don't want casters with Pac-Man, which is totally fine. That is a legitimate thing. Madrak was a scary thing, and he might have actually been worse because
Makita 3, we just saw that again. They did it, so that's probably where they learned their lesson.
Probably.
Well, they just don't want casters Pac-Manning. That's the thing, and I can respect that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see Thyron Pac-Manning. I don't want to play against that.
Nope.
I don't think anybody wants to play against that.
It probably just makes them play better, right? Instead of Pac-Manning with their caster and maybe getting in danger, they just Pac-Man around with their jacks. So it probably helps the player.
Yeah, Pac-Manning with a 4-inch reach assassin that's stupid and weapon master and blessed. Oh my god, and takedown. Oh, it's gonna be so good when they pull it off.
I hate it.
Okay, back to Gareth. Gareth is a massive improvement over where he was. I will definitely be playing this guy to be trying him out, pushing him, because I play assassination quite consistently as a victory condition. So I am looking forward to testing him out a lot.
Any other thoughts, Mark, before we move on?
I think it's solid all around. I think that having a almost 18-inch personal threat, as long as you can pull that gate crasher off, is a little ridiculous. But I don't know if you'll ever see it. But I think just having that mental stress of, well, he can do this is it's going to be fun to watch.
That is 99% of the tools for a assassination caster like Gareth. It's the mental threat. I need to be aware of where my caster is at all times, and if I don't play, it's to keep other casters honest. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's the scary thing. Be like, oh, I'm def 14 and armor 18. Be like, okay, cool, but you have nothing to transfer to, and I have 6 attacks to be able to kill you. There's legitimate risk there.
A little bit.
All right, so next thing we have here is the Mage Hunter Infiltrators as we move on to the units. And what happened to them is that they gain Ambush and Repo 5, and as well, they reduced down to 8 for a minimum unit and 13 points for a maximum unit. So what are our thoughts on this one?
They used to be able to ambush in editions past or rules gone past. When the themes changed, the rules for infiltrators changed. They lost ambush in their theme, I believe. And now they have it again. And they get a points drop. Other than that, the biggest benefit is that they can put Iris 3 into there and I think I've never had a faction that could ambush because I started playing right after the theme change. So I like being able. I like the idea of being able to ambush out with a long threat model. I mean, long threat being 13 and a half inches off the side, but it's pretty chaotic, pretty silly.
Technically, you did play Grimkin for a little bit, so you had something with ambush. But you're right.
I didn't. I wouldn't say that I played them like I played Ret or Signar or Convergence, though.
I just want you to admit that they're your wife's models.
They are my wife's models. They are. My wife plays Grimkin.
There you go.
So this is pretty much like, it's a good change, but do you think that you're going to see a lot of them?
I think you will, honestly.
I absolutely see, because the whole the Shadows of Retribution theme, most of the models in there changed for a benefit, and them going down to 13 points for a max unit of ambushers is really good. So I think they're super cheeky, and with the the UA that we're going to be talking about soon, we'll make them even better.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've always liked the Infiltrators personally, both the aesthetics and how they play. And yeah, they never had ambush on them directly, but like Iain said, with that theme force granted it to them, and then when they changed that, they lost it, so they pretty much got dropped off the side of the table. Having but ambush and that repo on top of that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, their speed's 7, so they charge 10 and a half off of a 3-inch deployment, so that's 13. If they do make the charge at 10 and a half inches away, they're repoing 5, and their hitting power is good. Like they have a POW 12 combo strike with gang for POW 14. So
yeah, not bad.
You have to respect it. Like POW 14, 10 POW 14s is going to wreck something.
Fact.
Or it's going to tie something up. Or if you have some certain Mage Hunter casters that have an Arcanoid over there, they can really, really make a mess of somebody else's army. Like if Raven throws out countermeasures onto them and they run out 14 inches from the side. So
I think another thing there too is like a lot of times with Anastasia, she'll charge in and then she'll die because she's there in the mess. For these guys, they can charge in and then repo back behind you to be somewhere more annoying, so they can do it again next turn. So I'm interested to see how big of a factor that will be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, with the UA that we're going to be talking about soon, which is going to be Iris 3, we'll follow up with the additional intention on that.
All right. Let's move on then to the Mage Hunter Strike Force. Now, this one I find funny because a lot of people would be like, what? But they gained Advanced Deploy, which a lot of people might have assumed that they had, but they actually had that from the UA. So now they just have the Advanced Deploy normally, and also their range weapons always are magical. And I might as well say what happened to the UA. The UA is losing the ability for granted arcane ammo, because now they're magic anyway, and also the tactics for advanced deployment, because they're advanced deploy anyway. And then what it gains is itself is advanced deploy, it has tactics repo 3, and then it gains as well the magical damage, but also dispel on it. So, Iain, what do you think about this change?
Okay, so the unit itself didn't really change. Let's just say that flat out. The unit didn't change. What changed is the Strike Force Commander. And with the Strike Force Commander, a 3-inch repo on a 12-inch gun, even the furthest, like other than the furthest hitting, the furthest threading things to be able to reach out and touch you aren't going to be touching you. You can move up, sandpaper, repo back. They're stealth, so there's not many things that are going to be able to throwing shots at you other than blast templates, which, I mean, blast templates are the bane of the Mage Hunter Strike Force. That's exactly it. So somebody drifts a 4-inch AoE, be like, you might as well get used to picking up 3 at a time, because they are magnets to that.
Pretty much.
The Dispel, beautiful. I love that they're putting May Dispel on the gun, not mandatory Dispel. It's all around a really, really good ability. Advanced Deploy and Tactics Repo 3. Kind of a winner. And it's no point increase for getting an extra dispel shot. So to add to that, again, another caster I love running with Mage Hunters is the Raven. 16-inch range crossbow with a 3-inch repo. I'll sit in my deployment zone, start firing out shots. Oh, and they still have the shoot through everything other than buildings ability.
Mm-hmm.
So
for the Dispeller, it's a must. It's not an option thing, eh?
Is it?
Yeah, you can't just choose to not do it.
I
It's
guess
also
choose
you
to
can
not
use
shoot
it
'em.
on friendly stuff, things too, right? So and you can use it to remove debuffs off your own models.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And anime and stuff like that. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I thought it was a may, not a must.
No, definitely has to.
Yeah, it's really just a fantastic upgrade. I actually don't like this one because I was happy to not be seeing these on the table, and you know they're going to be coming back now. So
For sure.
Yeah. Well, you just didn't want to see people showing up with anti-infantry, and now this whole basically this legacy CID was the anti-infantry CID.
every update in the last year has been the anti-infantry CID.
Better infantry, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says the Legion player that just got some of the best infantry in the game on top of some of the best infantry in the game.
Iain, man, everybody says these infantry is garbage. Just let them think.
Mark, our specialty, your and my specialty is turning shit into applesauce. So let's be real.
No, right? I was ecstatic.
We do. Yeah. You mean soul static?
That's right. Ooh.
We could probably move on to the next one after the Strike Force. I mean, there's nothing really to be said more about the Mage Hunter Strike Force other than they got Dispel, they got 3-inch repulse, so they can sandpaper, and they still eat blast, and they're still blast magnets.
Huge upgrade overall.
Oh yeah.
Next one here is a simple one. The Stormfall Archers, their point cost was reduced to 7.
I love it. I love this. I love everything about it. I love Stormfall Archers. I love these models. I like using them at 9 points. They weren't into my competitive list, but for playing them, I love these models. And now that they're at 7 points, from 9 to 7 is a huge drop. They are going in lists. They're going to be mainstays in some of my lists.
Well, especially when you take multiple units overall, right?
2 units that can see through stealth, can move 8 inches and still fire. Like, they are going to be bonkers. I can't express how happy I am with this change. And I know I'm being super excited over just Stormfall Archers, but oh my god.
It's like the smallest change in the whole thing, and this is what he's most excited about.
Yeah,
I know. It's like a 9 goes into a 7, and it's just like, oh.
Yeah. All right, well, fair enough. Cheaper is cheaper. The next one here are the Rhysovest Defenders, where their speed was increased to 6, their armor's up to a healthy 16, they got the girded ability, and they were reduced to 9 points for a min and 15 for a max, so a super big improvement for these guys.
So they went up 1 speed, they went up 1 armor, they gained girded, which is unbelievable for elves. And they went down 1 point for comparative changes.
Yeah,
these guys
still better than
yeah, they are. I mean, that's the battle driven is still really good though. I would have taken battle driven. If they gave us battle driven, I probably would have liked this more than the Stormfall Archer change.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine? Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Okay, so the Rhysovest Defenders, and we have to wrap in. We have to talk about the solos as well. We have to talk about what's his name, Ayleth Veer, at the same time, because Ayleth is the one that changed them the most. Mm-hmm. So Rhysovest Defenders are a tough mainstay unit. They're supposed to be standing there and soaking damage with defensive line. So they have +2 defense. So they're def 14 in melee. They're arm 16. They can't be damaged by blast, which is super cool. But I mean, at arm 16, you're kind of having to roll. You're going to have to, not have to, but you're going to be rolling for boosts to try and kill them with blast damage as it is. But the girded ability to keep other solos safe from blast damage, like your list healers or stuff like that, helps out immensely. They're threading out natively 11 inches, but that really doesn't take much to extend in this particular faction. So take that into account. Now, maybe we'll hold the chat about Ayleth when we get to Ayleth, and we can talk about the increase in defenders then. But the defenders have been improved massively. This is one of the 2 units that have been improved in a big way. Mm-hmm. And if you see 4 buffs in one change, it means that they probably were really deserving of it. 3 buffs and a point cost reduction. Yeah, these guys are going to see some play.
A little bit.
They're POW 10 weapon masters, and again, POW 10 doesn't take much to blow them up to say POW 12 or POW 14.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the new caster that has Fury.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So next one we have here is the Weir Swordsman. Their thing, all they got was that their armor was increased to 15, and they also got Gang, which is a lot more important. And then their UA, same thing, armor up to 15, got Gang, but then it lost granted practice maneuvers and then gained Overtake. So what are your thoughts on these guys?
This is the blender unit. This is the high def. So these guys have blade armor. I think that's what it's called.
Blade shield.
Blade shield. Thank you. So they're def 15, arm 15 with the increase. Which again, these guys are a prime target for stuff like Inviolable Resolve, or what's the one that gives +3 armor and tough. I can't remember what that one is. I'm looking for it right now.
Who's it on?
Goreshade 4. Dauntless Resolve. These guys are a great target for Dauntless Resolve as well. They are already Mat 7, POW 12 before Gang. So they go to Mat 9, POW 14 with Gang. And Cleave and Overtake. So they're moving 3 inches when they kill something.
I don't want to break up the podcast, but if you hear some noise in the background, it's just me putting my infantry in the garbage.
Yeah, you pick up those pirates and you make them disappear. No, well, the thing is that, again, it doesn't take much for these guys to go from Mat 9, POW 14 to POW 17 or POW 18 real quick, real fast. And then they're cleaving off of, they're cleaving through heavies. Mm-hmm. So they thread 11 inches as well. Or if you, spoiler, between the Defenders and the House Elweir, you can do a beta strike, which is super. I'm going to coin that term right now. You charge into me, I have Serpent's Coil turning around and hitting you when you get into my melee range, because they get defensive strike on their mini feat.
Yeah.
And then with the Risavast Defenders, they also have Dying Breath. When you kill them, they hit you first, or they hit you back. So if you have single wound infantry, I'm going to go get an alpha strike in against these guys. Fine, kill the Risavast. The Risavast are going to kill you back. Oh, I'm going to go after an Elweir Swordsman. Be like, cool, I'm going to charge in. Oh, here's a defensive strike. Nope, let's put another one in there.
I think a big thing that really shone out to me is it's one thing for infantry to go up to a high POW and take out heavies. I mean, there's a lot of different units that do that, but to have the high mat as well, what this really means to me is that this unit really threatens Archons. I mean, now you can be hitting their high def, getting their armor, and just like, hey, a couple of more ones, get out of here, you're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And they have Cleave. Like, this is with the Overtake and Cleave. You're like, I'm just going to travel 3 inches after I hit you.
Don't forget Killing Spree too.
Yeah. Not only that, I mean, on top of all of this, be like, if they get the alpha off, and then Serpent Strike, be like, I get the alpha, and then I get a second alpha. I get that nice little beta. Just a recipe for disaster for some people. I don't like Fury on these guys because that'll bring them down to def 14 against range. But I do def 12 against melee. They're pretty soft. I mean, if they have Dauntless Resolve or something on them, cool, but not a huge fan of that.
Well, let's cast Fury when they're going in. There's nothing left to attack back.
It's anything that comes in, you're getting a defensive strike first anyway, right?
Mike Bessem just pointed in. Gang was an insane upgrade, and I absolutely agree. I think Gang was actually probably over the top upgrade for them. They could have gotten like a little bit of an upgrade. Like Mat 7 was fine. POW 12 was okay, but just with the 2-inch reach, it's a little ridiculous to gain Gang.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, it is a big difference, but I don't think it's out of the question. Just to kind of keep them in par with some of the little bit of other factions, crazy elite, quote unquote, troops, right?
Well,
who are you comparing this to?
Let's compare the Pirates, where Mat 5, POW 9, so Gang brings up the
Pirates are elite. Let's just stop right there.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to start talking elite, we're going to start talking about stuff like, what's the medium base infantry that Legion rock?
The Warmongers?
Yeah, Warmongers. Warmongers with 2-inch range. They're how many points?
I don't even remember the last time I run them. I think it's 10, 15.
and they're 5 boxes within yielding.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mat 7 plus gang is unique to them, I think, is
Pretty
what
much.
Mike Messam is saying. Like going to Mat 9, like I understand that def skew is a thing, but man, that's an impressive isolated ability just to increase their hitting ability with.
Are we ready to move on to Iris?
I think so.
All right, so Iris Mage Hunter Commander, so Iris 3, all of its weapons gain magical type. Also, change the rules for the Arcane Hemorrhage 2. When this model hits another model with an attack, the model hit loses D3 Focus, Fury, or Essence on it, and upkeep spells it casts immediately expire. The model loses the following abilities: Granted Reposition and the Advanced Deploy, and instead gains Mark the Target, Tough, and also it's now, it's a attachment.
Well, they got Target Essence. That's not cool.
You guys probably won't see her that often.
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Why do you think?
Granted, Mark Target is cute. Tactic stuff is cute. Those are cool. All right, putting him with the ambushing infiltrators. Neat. You probably won't see her because strictly being like, oh, you can lose a between 1 and 3. Be like, thanks for the D3, assholes. Not interested. Oh, okay. So we're gonna get rid of upkeeps. Cool, but the D3 wasn't necessary. They could have just left. They could have just made her strictly better and said, you lose everything. You lose D3 focus, or sorry, you lose all focus, you lose all fury, you lose all essence, or leave essence completely out of it and just be like, you lose everything, and then have to keep a caster in the middle of the table, which can be played around. Because there are these things called shield guards or sack pawns or X rule that will stop a single ranged attack from coming out. Some people in the community thought it was, other than tactics tough and mark target, thought it was kind of a bullshit change.
Really? It seems good to me.
Yeah, I agree, actually.
It's good. I'm actually kind of like, I like the mark target and I like the tactics tough. But I hate the D3. I don't like it at all.
Welcome to the Ephemerite Archon.
Yeah, the nerf on the whole Arcane Hemorrhage is pretty big, but I don't think it's a bad change. I think it's a more fair and balanced thing.
I'm not saying that the ability to remove all of someone's fury and all of someone's focus or essence points isn't really, really crippling, but it's not like you can't pull it back next turn like the other Iris.
But I think that's the ambushing thing is why that came in, right? Like Iris 1, you know what the threat is, but I mean, from both board edges, that's significant.
Yeah, I mean, it should be significant. She's a 6-point model. Yes, you can get it for free, but she's still a 6-point model. It better be significant.
And I think something to think of too is like normally what they say is, like camp 2 on your caster and that's how you stay safe. Well, that's basically what this is removing. So, I mean, a lot of casters aren't really camping a full 6 anyway. So I think this is already in the range where you're probably pulling off everything, or at least enough that, okay, now the assassination's on the table. I also like the idea of like them on a min unit of infiltrators. So it's either like, okay, I can walk on and shoot and like repo behind you, or what I can do is just like run them in so that things hit better. I don't know. Like it seems to me like it's a nice combo package that you have there. But then again, I'm not the rep player.
I agree with you. I think the Infiltrators is a beautiful place for them because you have these ambushing models to harass you, and then she's giving them tough on top of that. Like that's pretty cute.
It's okay. I'm not going to say that
just mad she lost the super broken ability.
She would have been so much better with it. It would have been an auto.
Yeah, give her 9 points then. Make her like the new Boomhowler.
Fine, make it free.
You wanted Iris 3 to be driving a trident.
That's right.
Yes, I want Tridris.
She's just holding the cannons in her arms.
Seriously, her arms are the cannons.
Yeah.
All right, so next one here is the most important entry in this whole thing because it's a mercenary upgrade. So Selena and the Nis Hunters, pretty simple here. The min unit is down to 10 points and the max unit down to 16, which is a fantastic change.
Meh.
That's pretty much how I went with that too.
Really?
It's a good change. It doesn't just affect red though.
I might put him into like at 16 points. I might put him into a four shade list. I might consider that. Interesting, not particularly. They could have done a lot for that unit. They had an amazing design space for that unit that they could have done with, and they didn't. They just were like, you know what? Let's make it easy. And well, I know I'm saying that with when I was like excited for Stormfall Archers to get knocked down 2 points, but with a characterful unit like Nis Hunters and Selena, it could have been really cool.
Well, I think one of the things to think of here is like where they're coming from is Mark II, where everyone always took them all the time. And then when they went to Mark III, they just made them a little bit too expensive. And even then, sometimes I'm still wondering, like, ooh, their ability to ignore cover. Do I want to put them in?
How many points were they? How many points were they?
Right?
How many points did they go down? I never played them. I mean, I might have played them once.
Yeah, so they're down a significant amount. And so I think you have to keep them a little bit bland. I know you want them to have more character, but I mean, since they're mercs and can go into a lot of different places, they have to be pretty careful with that.
I think if they did something kind of like they did with Alexia and made Silena a little bit pretty over the top and have the rest of her unit just kind of supporting, it would have been cool.
I'm like maybe able to shoot off D3 Essence? That'd be cool.
You leave my Essence alone.
I need to see how many points they went down. How many points did they go down?
I don't know. I'm trying to look.
I mean, since it was updated, I can't see anymore.
They went down 3 full points.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Max. Yeah,
it's pretty big.
Yeah, that is kind of a big deal. You know what? I wish they would have done just a little bit more to them. But you know what? 3 points is a really big drop for a 10-person unit.
I know we're talking about Ret, but I think we're going to start seeing this in things like Fiona, where like a unit like this is perfect, where you can be like moving things around, shooting them up, and then when they need to charge in, these weapon masters, like they're great combined arms, and now they're affordable. So I think we'll see them at least in Mercs, but from the sounds of it, not in Ret.
You might see them in Ret. Like I have played around with putting them into my list with Four Shade, because I'm going to be talking about Four Shade later, just because of how all of the single wound infantry changing makes a big difference, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to Narn, Mage Hunter of Ios. So what it does is it gains a leadership ability for Mage Hunters, and what it is while in this model's command range, friendly Mage Hunter models gain sprint, and as well, its points is reduced down to 5. So Iain, what's this all about?
So the model point cost doesn't matter. Everyone took them for free anyways, because it used to be a 6-point model. However, the most important change to this is the Mage Hunter gains sprint, and that's when you want to bounce Gary 1 forward to go kill a heavy or go kill a couple lights or a light, and then bounce back behind a forest so you don't get murked. That's the main use of him. Other than that, it's business as usual. He's good. I like Narn as a model. I like him as that double weapon master, caster silencing dude.
Having him go down to 5 points is actually a bit of a big thing, though. Like, he could be one of your options to not use as a rec point now, right? Like, use something that gives you a little bit more, like the double solos coming out at 6 points over him as a 5.
I mean, what do we have for double solos in Shadows?
I don't know. I'm making a list right now.
I don't think we do.
Shouldn't you know this already?
I only recently just got the ability to make a Shadows list that looks like a ton of fun.
See, this is why we should have brought Mike on here. Jesus.
Mike is on.
Indirectly.
2 list healers, 3 soulless void tracers, which nobody takes. So yes, 2 list healers is going to be the 6-point option. 3 soulless void tracers is going to be your 6-point option. So it's but
or
again,
Iris.
Iris is a 6-point option.
Scythe is 6-point option.
Scythe is a 6-point option.
There's quite a few good ones.
Those ones were already going to be taken as it is.
Yeah, but now you can take more of them instead of the 5-pointer.
Yeah, but nobody takes list healers in Shadows, and the soulless void tracers. Nobody takes them either. I mean,
you should.
Corner case meta, because I mean, void tracers can be good depending on your meta.
Mm-hmm.
Mike does not play Shadows. It's a theme. He has 0 of the rep models for. So you have me, not
WTF, mate.
So basically,
I wonder if he has Virus 2 yet, because he still doesn't have that yet.
What? Well, I missed what you said.
I wonder if he has Virus 2 yet, because last time I checked, he didn't have Virus 2.
What the heck, Mick?
It's War
Seriously.
Room. We have everything.
It's true.
No, he doesn't have the model.
I think Brian meant War Table.
He still does not have Virus 2.
So basically, this update to this model was like a meh. The points probably won't normally matter, and the sprint is nice, but only in really corner cases. Is that fair?
That kind of encapsulates it. Yes, the point cost can be captured in smaller points games. I will agree with Mark on that. But it is not a groundbreaking change, despite it being could be very corner-ish, could be very, very good in some situations.
Yeah, for the standard 75-point format where we're used to be playing, then it's an okay change. With the big hype of Brawl Machine, everybody playing that, I think it's pretty big.
All right,
exactly. That's where it would be big.
The next one we have on here is Alara, Tyro of the Third Chamber. She lost the Who Cares spell of Convention and then gained Ghost Walk.
No. Everybody loves conventions. Everybody wants conventions. We want conventions back.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
But she did lose the spell Convection.
Yeah, they spell it wrong on the thing here.
Yeah, she loses Convention. Huge. This is huge. Being able to ghost walk in some themes is massive. The ability, like for her specifically, she also gained the ability to go into Defenders, which is where she wants to go. Fitting her in is very tough to get her in there because she is taking up certain points allocations where you might be starting to drop tridents to be able to get in a little bit of support. And yes, we are looking at lists where you drop tridents for efficiencies where you don't normally get to see.
That's a shame.
It's good. I like it.
That's too.
List design places or list design areas where we don't run double tridents.
Excellent.
So I like this change. Not huge, but it's nice.
Ghostwalk is huge because you remember my favorite little 15 inch threading halbs that with Issy? Those things that people just hated getting bulleted down their throat. Well, they're 15-inch threat with Pathfinder now.
Boo.
Yeah, real big deal. Also, Alec, do you guys think that they only looked at balancing for 75 points, or do you think they have little thought to Brawl Machine? I think that they do think of smaller brackets as well, Alec, for design space. I think Narn would actually be a really good example of that.
I don't think that they have any consideration for the smaller point games, in all honesty. Like the thing with Brawl Machine, it's only been a thing for how many months now? And like these development changes and whatnot have probably been in play for a little while.
Well, I mean,
the
CID went in after. So it could have been a consideration. I think there is a consideration on the scaling between the 25, 50, and 75 points.
I think one leads to the other. If you can make it work well at 75, it probably also works well at the Brawl Machine.
Yeah,
exactly.
Next one we have here is the House Guard Thane. Pretty simple, reduced down to 3 points.
Man, I took these guys at 4 points, and I would pay for them, each of them for free. Or at least one of them for free in my list. Going down to 3 and still doing the same thing, or getting 2 for 1. That's a straight
2 for 1 is I think the bigger part of it.
Oh yeah, it's like thanks for giving me 2 solos for the price of 1.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I don't understand why they did it because everybody took them anyways. Exactly. And normally you would be like, hey, if something's weak or needs to be brought up, we should bring something up. Rather than being like, let's just make the best stuff even better.
Yeah, basically they just gave you 8 free points instead of trying to convince you got 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
So next one we have here is Ayleth Veer, Blade of Nisor. Its speed increased to 6. It lost hard. Does it have hard? Is that really hard? Okay,
it was
last
hard.
word. Leadership for the Defenders, but it gained Dying Breath, Girded, and Elite Cadre for the Defenders, and also Veteran Leader for the Nis. And so that Elite Cadre is going to be the friendly Defenders gain Dying Breath. So what do you think about this one, other than my horrible way of pronouncing it?
Risavast Defenders and Ayleth Veer, Blade of Nisor is the greatest combination, other than the original combination where it allowed them I wish they would have kept that.
No, they couldn't. Like, there's no way.
There's no way that they could. But I wish they would have just been like, if you have 10 or 20 defenders on the table, and I have 20 defenders on the table, let's see who can clock back and forth faster than the other person while boxing or disabling each other. It would have made for the most technical matches you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been a judge's nightmare to keep track of. And I would have done it I would have ran 2 units of these things just to piss organizers off. I think that they ended up with a really good combination with the Elite Cadre Dying Breath, because when you punch me and I die, I get a snap back at you with a POW 10 Weapon Master, or at least a POW 10 Weapon Master. Totally think it's a great increase. And it's with it being Elite Cadre, Ayleth can go stand on a flag, die miserably, and then they still have Dying Breath.
And your thoughts there, Mark?
Yeah, I think that overall, the defenders, I don't know, I'm just salty that they're still better than the frickin' Legion ones. But
I don't know if they are.
They are, dude.
I think they're very, very comparable.
I still think they're better, and giving them this is definitely better than anything.
You have vengeance on yours. They threat 14.
I don't kill jacks with mine.
They're POW 12, and then they go to POW 14 with battle charged.
Yeah, I don't kill jacks with mine.
Guys, don't force me to bring my Storm Guard into this.
Shut up, Brian. You know a lot of fighting with us.
I thought you flushed all your imagery already.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good thing. I think that Ret, in my opinion at least, is having this weird little niche place where they have this amazing offense output now, but they're also getting this little benchmark of this backseat of a defensive play on a good chunk of their infantry that is going to be leading the midfield, which I think is huge.
It's going to force people into matchups that they don't want to be in, because when you have 2 units that, I'm gonna alpha you with my single wound infantry, and then they're like, oh no, I can't alpha them with my single wound infantry because my single wound infantry will die.
Well, in all honesty, it could be more than just the 2 units. You could be running doubles of each of these, right? Like, there's potential to have 4 units on the board where you don't want to
talk about that in a second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As a TO, I'll say you both lose.
Yes.
Fair enough. Yeah. We deserve that.
True.
All right. Getting into the Warjacks, there's a whole bunch of little changes in there. The first one is the Daemon, and its Rat is going to increase to 6, and then its Vortex Cannon gains reload 1.
Needed it so bad. Needed that.
That's pretty cool, actually.
The Demon was a budget beater for Ret, and I know that sounds really weird for Ret to have a budget beater.
I thought the Manticore was the budget beater.
The Demon's 14. And it has a POW 16 and a POW 14 with the Vortex Cannon. With reload, the gun is really good because it RFPs single wound infantry out.
True.
I didn't realize these rats were so low before.
What's that?
I didn't realize these rats were so low before. Like increasing to 6. I thought it was 6 already.
It was rat 5. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you complain about being rat 6 or mat 6 in your stuff. Literally, our heavies are mat 6, and they just got increased to rat 6.
Yeah, but now you get Iris with Mark Target. What are you crying about?
Yeah, all right.
Jeez.
I'm still going to complain. I have to. It's got to be edgy, right?
I know.
Sphinx, like all the Virejacks ended up going to rat 6. Yeah, that's the moral of the story in this one.
And the Sphinx going up to range 12. How significant is that?
Huge. That's actually a really big one because with the Rune Spirit Cannon doing the increased spell range, Psychic Relay, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is actually pretty good.
When it was only range 10, it was speed 5, I believe. So, and I was also thinking about the Sphinx as the budget beater. My bad. With the Sphinx being range speed 5 and range 10, it was only 15 inch. So your caster could actually outstrip the Psychic Relay ability. Now you're range 12, so you're not worrying as much about that speed outstrip when you on top of that.
The Banshee one's pretty nice too. Like again, Rat goes up to 6. It lost critical grievous wounds on its melee weapons. However, it just gained regular grievous wounds. So that's probably the right way to go.
Definitely. It's a huge buff.
I love the Banshee. It has a momentum cannon on its shoulder that knocks stuff down. It's so good. When you're range 12, POW 14 momentum cannon, be like, oh, I'm a small base. Be like, and you're gonna get slammed D3 inches, and hopefully you don't hit something bigger than you because it's gonna be 4 dice on the boost.
Yeah, but the cannon didn't change at all, so
The cannon didn't change, but the Rat 6, like I was already planning on boosting as it was.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I can miss one boost, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. Also, assail plus momentum is not a thing anymore, unfortunately, because we can't. The assail on Thyron plus a Banshee made him really hilarious.
Oh, did that actually work?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Huh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, any type of slam.
Fair enough.
Gorgon, its points go down to 8 and its defense up to 13.
Interesting change, mainly because it makes Gorgon the budget jack, which he's the one with an 8-inch spray that brings down 2 speed for whatever it hits. Mm-hmm. Interesting little addition where you can tag it with the Lara if you want.
I don't know. It's just not something that I've seen very often.
No, you don't. But at 8 points, you might be able to see it with the Lara.
Maybe.
Hydra, Matt goes up to 7, defense up to 13, and then points down to 14.
Hydras can suck it.
All Shail Jacks went up to Mat 7 if they weren't already at Mat 7. And all their defenses went up to 13 if they weren't defense 13. The points cost reduction for Hydra is so appropriate, it's not even funny. When they were 15, it's like you get a single shot out of them and they have a combo strike smash and grab. It wasn't okay. Like, you don't want these.
It was a range 15 shot, though.
It was a range 15 shot, yes. So that's POW 15. But
yeah, that's pretty
Rat 5.
You got Iris. You're fine.
No, that's
going to be like my go-to now.
Moment. That's not an Iris moment. You have to boost, and you almost always have a focus or 3 on it to get the power up. But yeah, you're basically sitting in a back zone waiting for it to kind of close out a game, unless the game's already getting closed out and you're on the receiving end.
Next one here is Manticore. It's Mat up to 7, Def up to 13, but this big change here is a Force Generator is now this model gains +2 strength.
I like the Force Generator change. It's kind of an opinion base on this one. It used to be spending a focus at the beginning of its activation or anytime activation, and you get +3 strength, so it would go to POW 18 rather than the POW 17, but not having to spend a focus. It is a buff overall because of the extra attack that you can get out of it or boost that you can get out of it, but you can be argumentative on it.
The math's pretty easy. If you're doing at least 3 damage, it's better to buy an attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you will get an extra attack because you don't have to spend that. However, there was ways to be able to get it without losing it, because if you're running something like a Helios, again, it's a corner case thing. Because it was an anytime activation, you could spend the focus and still be at 3 focus with the Helios beside you. Mm-hmm. So it's good. I think it is a very, very slight buff.
Sure.
Argumentatively.
Yeah, I don't know if it is, though, in all honesty. You've got things that, because as long as you lose that Force Generator, then you lose that buff. So you have things that can snipe it right out. What?
You lost ability anyways.
What do you mean?
Manticores couldn't. I'm 99% sure if you lost your Force Generator, you couldn't spend to boost up anyways.
I didn't think it was attached to the Force Generator before.
I was pretty sure it was.
I thought it was just a anytime thing. If only we could go back and look.
I know. I'm looking right now, but it...
Mike, go.
I mean, really, typically the thing is like, hey, it's operational or it's smashed. There's not a lot of times where it's in the middle.
However, +1 defense and +1 mat, really good for the Manticore.
Yeah, those all agree for sure.
Chimera, Mat up to 7, Def up to 13. That's it.
Love it. I love the Chimera. I love that it's getting buffs.
Then we have a whole bunch that are all the same. The Aspis, the Chimera, Discordia, Griffin, and Phoenix, all of them, defense up to 13.
You're an Aspis.
I like all this higher defense stuff going on here, because again, my Mat 6 Merc Jacks are kind of sad at this.
I mean, these are elf-made Jacks. They shouldn't be Def 12. They should be more appropriately cost because they're supposed to be nimbly little knife ears, right? They're supposed to be jumping around like ninjas from tree to tree.
But these aren't the elves. These are the big lumbering robots.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, they're big ninja. They're ninja. Hey, have you ever heard of Moros? Come on, that is a
Moros can have depth 13. That's fine. Everything else should be 12.
Yeah, Moros can go to depth 15. Thank you very much. Sorry, 14. I'm wrong.
Did the colossal def go up too?
Yeah. Right.
Which one? Because the colossal. One of the colossals are depth 14. So I can't. I don't want to talk on
That's
that.
all. Yeah, it's not technically though, but it is.
Technically, it's not, but it do.
Yeah, but it do.
So obviously all nice changes there. Probably not lots to add. Then we're on to the theme forces. The first one's for Defenders of Ios, and what they added was 2 House Guard Thane solos as one of the rec options, and also added Alara as one in the army comp.
Yeah, we chatted about that. It's Alara going into with Ghost Walk is an amazing inclusion. Really, really good. And the 2 House Guard Thane solos, we talked about that. It's really an 8 points of free stuff rather than just 6 points of free stuff. Because
you're lying to us.
Yeah, it's all solid changes.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then the last thing here is a core rulebook change. So under removing the field damage, now it's going to be saying once per turn during its activation, a model with a force field can spend 1 focus point to remove 5 damage points from its force field damage track unless its field generator system is crippled.
Really good actually, because it was D3 plus 1 damage that would be healed. This is we chatted about this in our own little gaming chat where I got the rule wrong and I was corrected on it, and I still think it's good, a nice change because
I mean, it's okay. I mean, obviously fixing damage is a good thing, right? And I think good to take out the randomness too. Like save all that D3 stuff for the Gobber faction.
Yeah, right. Brian,
totally
just
going to happen. I hope it does. I'll play Gobber faction. I would.
I'll hold you to this, Ian. I will.
I will 100% would play a Gobber faction. You know how much I love randomness and how I spike my rates. Let's do it. I'll take random charges. I'll take random shots. If it is a faction that's meant to be that way, that has the randomness, but also is cheap, where I'm going to run like 150 goblins, but every single one of them has to roll like 3 dice a turn, I'm down. I'll do it. I'll chew my clock. The 5 points of damage. So I was talking about this, about the Hydra specifically, where Hydra's sitting in the back, getting shot sporadically from stuff trying to like push it or get it out of the way or take a little bit of damage from here. That Mike, I will. You know, I almost gave you moderator powers last week. I will take that insinuation away. Mike is like, please no Gobber meme faction. The extra 5 damage that you can just remove from the shield, I like it. I like it specifically on the Hydra. There's other ones that it'll be really good with. I mean, Helena really likes seeing that too. So
yeah, no kidding.
You're like, oh, you got shields out. You're like, yeah, let's bring all of that back now.
I mean, realistically, what it is while you're running in, if you take a random long shot, sure, you can use your focus to be healing that. When you charge in, you're probably using all your focus on the offense, but sure, if you have a spare one, you might as well heal. And then probably where it's going to be making the biggest impact is late game. If you're still alive, you can then patch yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's a nice core change because again, it's another removal. If you remove a dice roll, like a removal of a D3 plus 1, be like, cool, done. I'm down for that. It removes that randomness as well, and increases it into a much, much better way.
All right, so
and I think
the big question I have for you, Ian. We went through everything, and there's a lot of things we said, like, oh, that'd be nice to have. I got to try that out. How much of an impact do you think this is actually going to have? And when it comes to like what we are seeing in the meta, at least in War Table, do you think this is going to wildly change things? So 3 casters instantly become viable in more than one way. Thyron becomes way more viable. Whoever's typing into their microphone, chunk, you need to stop.
You're a chunk.
Hey, you guys. So the most important thing is that Thyron becomes much more than just playable he is going to be a force to be reckoned with, depending on meta. The second one is Gareth 1 becomes 100% playable. Again, he's going to be able to bully people around the board. The third one is that there's going to be some casters that are getting buffs because of this. Like Foreshade. Foreshade just became really, really dangerous. Being able to put out 2 units of defenders and 2 units of the Elwirs or a unit of Nis Hunters, that's going to be really crazy for his soul generation. Not only that, soul generation, but when somebody comes in on you, you're triple dipping on the pain. You're charging into me, you're getting swung at, and then dying, or you charge in, you don't die, you hit me, kill me, then you go stationary if you're not immune to cold.
Yeah, I don't think Gary 1 was ever a non-viable caster. I've seen him more than enough times, I'd like to think.
Gary 1
now you'll see him a lot more.
Yeah, 100%.
But I mean, let's put it this way. So, like, you know, a few months ago, if you were going to be signing up to go to the WTC or something where you wanted to win the whole thing with Ret, what would your pairing be before this?
A combination. Me personally would have been a combination of Issy, Viros 2, or Gary 2.
Yeah, and so now, what does that change to?
Honestly, it doesn't. It doesn't. However, depending on your particular meta or what your role is in the WTC, if you're playing in a solos event, absolutely, it's going to be you're going to be playing your Try, Test, and True Issy Viros 2. Mine was Issy and Viros 2. However, depending on the meta, if somebody's not being able to manage the soul collection or somebody is not managing certain things, I'm going to be able to run Foreshade, and Foreshade is not something that you can let run unchecked.
Yeah, but you think now these days with the all the Archons and the soul denial out there, I don't think that Foreshade's going to be anything.
I can soul denial with 6 points of free models.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Archons denying yours.
No, I can stop that. I have Soul Ward as well, but I have it on 2 small list healers rather than investing 16 points into it. Yeah, so the economy works really, really well into his side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, when it came to like what we're going to see, like I kind of thought like, okay, Thyron's going to jump in there, and Thyron will be a big part of the competitive meta. But I really don't think like there's going to be that much infantry. So I don't know if that actually is going to be a really viable thing you want to be taking to try and win those top tables. I'm not sure though.
No, I mean, again, it depends on what your role in your meta team, what your team meta is going to be. It also depends on what your personal meta is going to be. It gives 3 really good meta choices that you can kind of control or define the meta with. If you're a very strong player, like if you're running Goreshade, you can push people to have to adjust to play for that meta. Where somebody plays Issy and Viros, be like, cool, you've captured most of the meta on shooting and offense. It's a great change up. But if you can do it all with a change and push the meta in a different direction, I support that as well.
Yeah, and I guess the main thing is that these got better across the board, right? When all your jacks get cheaper and better armor and better defense, you're just going to do better.
Also, Thyron won't fit in the meta because Thyron slaughters Thyron's lists. There's a sentence for you.
True.
Yeah, that's a help from Mike on that one, and it's 100% true. Thyron actually plays into Shadows really, really well, and Shadows doesn't want to see Shadows. So it's kind of a catch-22 on it.
So what I'm hearing is that from a competitive standpoint, not a lot really changed. However, for like anything that's not top tier, there's a lot of shakeup in the faction.
I think there's still a lot of top tier that can be played. Like Shadows is still, again, it depends on what your top table meta is at. Like if somebody's running a top tier meta and they're running stuff like Magnus, be like, cool, I can run Goreshade into Magnus. I can run Raven into Magnus. I can run these things, Raven and Shadows into Magnus. Where same with Gary 1, I can run Gary 1 into Infernals. These are good meta choices that can be played. I don't think that it's also Tridents. I'm starting to move Tridents out of my list to be able to get more support stuff into them, and that's a really, really good thing. It gives me more design space, and not having 2 double Trident lists is super cool to be able to have, because people are going to be like, oh, got to deal with 2 tridents. Be like, no, you got to deal with 46 infantry. And if you kill me, you're stationary.
Now, Mark, I don't know if you caught that, but he's really worried about trying to kill Magnus 2 in Infernals. I feel targeted.
Yeah.
What's that?
We'll just let Iain think it.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
It's okay. It's better that way.
No, I was reading chat. Mike corrected me on this. That's not what he said. Thyron slaughters Brian's list.
Yeah.
Oh.
All of them.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say about Infernals slaughtering Brian?
Oh, no, we're just talking about how you were talking about like countering Magnus 2 in Infernals. And, Mark and I are just sitting here awkwardly that, oh no, he's targeting us.
Oh.
Just think you're big balling.
Just putting it out there. I mean, you're playing Legion right now anyways.
You're not wrong. Well, you don't know what I got cooking up my sleeve here.
I mean, we know the answer. You know my answer to Infernals most of the time anyways.
Cry.
Drop Issy, and if not Issy, drop Vyros.
I heard cry.
Also, wouldn't it be cute if you dropped the super hard caster into the Field Marshal Arcane Vortex faction?
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna kill all the things. Be like, how many Hellmouths can you cast out before I Arcane Vortex everything?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like the Legion that is out right now is ridiculously fun.
Oh yeah, totally.
So competitive aside, I mean, for people, like, I kicked this off with the joke being like, oh yeah, Tridents went down. But I mean, overall, trying to make Ret better for everyone, do you feel that PP did a good job with that?
Yes, I do. I do think that PP did a good job bringing the right things up. I think that they brought some good things up as well that maybe didn't need to be brought up. But I do like the overall changes. And they are getting into that area where Tridents aren't an auto pick. They still are one of the best models in our faction, but it kind of like, I could probably push one out for something else now, and I'm still going to run one in the list just for the threat extender and. But it gives you this CID gave extra options on top of that. When the new releases come out, though, that's going to be another podcast in and of itself, and that's going to be there's going to be whole list fundamental changes in Tridents. Tridents aren't going to be going on the shelf, but they're definitely going to be seeing more shelf time.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is we're going to be breaking Iain's Tridents instead of Brian's Sturgis?
I don't see that happening.
Oh, Brian and I talked about.
Oh yeah, you guys can talk all you want.
All right. Any last thoughts on this change then before we get to closing?
All in all, I really enjoyed the CID. I enjoyed playing with a lot of these models, and I am super happy with the way they came out. Nothing's overly broken, and nothing was super undertuned either, other than Iris 3.
Mark, anything from you?
I think Iris 3 is great. No, I think Iain's right. I think there's a good balance in changes overall. I do think the Iris 3 changes were necessary. I think that she was a little too over the top, so it's kind of nice they dialed her back a little bit. But
I do actually agree with Mark on this. I do think that it was appropriate that she didn't remove everything because of her threat from the side of the table. But
exactly.
I could be salty that I didn't get all of the toys.
You can be. This is true. But I think overall it was really good.
Yeah, I just don't like the Defense 3 Jacks, but I mean, that's just an opinion thing. Well, we'll see how it actually all works out.
I mean, there's so many other Jacks out there that are Def 13.
All right, but let's just bring this one to a close. So for everyone, thanks for watching and listening. If you want to be finding all the information, Iain, where can they find your stuff?
So they can find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/thecommunitykiller. They can find me on YouTube, which again, listen, if you're coming in and halfway through this podcast, go back to the very beginning talking about the Malorian, hurting Malorian challenge. Keep subbing to the YouTube channel. You guys are doing amazing so far. As well as on Twitch, twitch.tv/thecommunitykiller.
And then Mark, did you start up your site yet?
No, haven't got that far yet. Just dealing with some other stuff.
You and your getting engaged. You got to get that stuff on track.
Yeah, I know. Supposedly the second time's easier.
I support Mark on this.
Thanks, bro.
Otherwise, you can go check us out there at the Shoulda Boosted Facebook page. Well, it'd be nice to get some more chatting going on there. And otherwise, I guess we'll catch you all later.
Have a good one, guys.